We're live.
Live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 10th, oh my God, the 10th quarantine concert live from the Fur Peace Station. Tonight's concert, per usual, is a free
Free. If it ain't free, it ain't me.
live stream. Tonight's concert is, sorry, I got feedback from my computer. Sorry about that. Tonight's concert is sponsored by Yorma's Choice CBD products, the only choice when it comes to CBD that works. I put that on my lower back today after my march yesterday. I marched in the wrong shoes. Don't do that. There should be like I don't know, a handbook for what to wear when you're protesting.
Right. And bring the CBD with you.
That's right.
Right.
So you just held up the balm and the tincture.
I did.
We are soon to have a muscle cream, 1,000 milligram muscle cream.
Ooh.
So we want to thank everyone for your support over these last 10 weeks, and to whoever asked early on if we had a tip jar. We didn't know what that was because we've just been doing these streams, and we just decided to do them free. But you asked if we could accept donations for the crew because everybody was and is volunteering their time. So thank you for whoever suggested that. We set up a PayPal and a Venmo account, and hopefully they're running across the screen now with the addresses. They'll be running across the screen throughout the night. And let me just say that not only are Yorma and I so grateful, but my crew of Myron Hart, Izzy Love, and Andy Walla are extremely grateful.
Indeed.
So, a couple of specials we want to mention. Actually, there's only going to be two tonight. For those of you that have asked about that hot tuna poster, we will have more. Don't try to get on the website tonight and look for any. It's a possibility.
Kevin might have them hidden in his warehouse. Is that the deal?
Possibly,
Okay.
yes. And even if he did, they're not autographed yet. So this process takes a while, and we either mail them to Jack, or if we can get him to drive out from Los
That's an
Angeles.
interesting idea.
Yeah, we're working on it. You never know. So tonight, every time you order either a Yorma's Choice 500 milligram tincture or a 500 or 1,000 milligram muscle balm, you will get a free sample of the opposite. So if you bought a tincture, I'm going to give you a free sample for a balm. If you bought a balm, I'm going to give you a free sample of a tincture. But there's also another plus if you buy the 500 milligram balm. You can buy others, but if you buy the 500 milligram balm, we're going to throw in the Yorma's Choice hand sanitizer with the Yorma's Choice logo. There's no CBD in this product. It is hand sanitizer. For the pandemic, folks.
Right.
Okay, so those of you that are watching kind of know the format. We do a little music, some questions, a little bit of music, maybe a guest or two. And we obviously want the most time for music, but we've gotten some really great questions. I literally have a stack of probably 75 now. I go through and try to pick the most interesting ones, and we'll just disperse it throughout the evening. So that's pretty much it.
So we're not starting with a question, huh?
Do you want to start with a question?
I don't know. Up to you.
Okay, hold on. We'll make it an easy one that you can just...
Easy one, yeah.
Yeah. So this is from Hal Broom. Question for Yorma. In Jeff Tamarkin's bio of the Jefferson Airplane, Yorma claimed he was seduced by technology, specifically an Echoplex, into the band. Does he still have the old Echoplex? Does he use any modern digital equivalent at all?
That's a great question, Vanessa, and I'm glad you brought it up. First of all, guys like me, you start out, you play the guitar and all this kind of stuff, and that's pretty much what you do. And then people ask you a question like, whatever possessed you to get into the Jefferson Airplane? And then you say something stupid like, I was seduced by, I wish I'd never said that. But since I did say it, first of all, the Echoplex belonged to Ken Kesey. Remember Ken Kesey, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? What was Ken Kesey doing with an Echoplex? Now, that's a question that we'll never know because Ken's no longer with us. But anyway, I went to the, when I was trying out for the band at the Matrix, I had a 1937 all maple L5, absolutely mint, and an early 50s Princeton. I bought the pair of them for $60. A couple years later, I sold the L5 for $250. I figured this is great. I could buy and sell guitars and make $1 million, but let's not even go there. So anyway, I plugged in the Echoplex, and it was like walk, 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 and you could sort of like early looping stuff, right? I have owned a couple since then, and I wish I still owned them because they're worth a lot of money today. But since you mentioned that, I don't know if the camera can show. Hang on here a sec. We have. Oh boy. It's not as easy to bend over as it used to be. Let me unplug all this stuff here. Okay. So what we have here is an Eventide's Clockwork Rose. This is the Rose. Just zoom in on the Rose there, Vanessa. So the Rose doesn't like microphonic pickups in acoustic guitars. And before this quarantine stuff is done, I'm going to do something with the electric guitar because it's a really interesting pedal. It's half analog and half digital, and it's got about 2.5 minutes of delay, so you can do all kinds of stuff, and you can run samples backwards. It's a wacky gadget. And so before this is all done, I will do something with it. I use it for a couple solos that I'm playing with electric hot tuna. Anyhow, Eventide's Rose, the new version of the Echoplex. All right.
Good answer.
Thanks, Vanessa. Blue skies in the morning, stars they fill the night, fall wind rustling through the trees, sings a song of great delight. On such a day, you think you'd say exactly what you mean, but in God's perfection, things ain't always just the way they seem. When the best you have to offer falls short of the mark, self-inflicted holes are piercing deep within your heart. Blue skies in the afternoon, breeze it starts to still, 2 dogs sleeping in the sun, they lie upon that grassy hill. At such a time, you think you find a way to show your heart, and though you're reaching for her hand, still you walk apart. When the best you have to offer fall short of the mark. Self-inflicted holes are piercing deep within your heart. Sun upon that old barn roof celebrates the day. I hold this moment in my hand, follow it along my way. The future grows, this feeling grows round my windowsill. By letting go, I might escape prison of my will, when the best you have to offer comes off the mark. Self-inflicted holes are piercing deep within your heart, when the best you have to offer is all you have to give. Enjoy the moment God has granted, one more day to live. Blue skies out my window said goodbye to early morning rain. Thank you. Thank you very much. Double check my tuning here. I've had the same strings on this guitar for 60 years. No, that's not true. I've had the guitar for 60 plus years. All righty. Goodness. Give me a minute here. So guitar players will immediately know, with most guitars that aren't fightenized, and that's a whole other universe. If I was playing in E, I tune my E string to pitch, but I'm going to play in G, and if I was tuned in E, then the G would be sharp, so everything's going to be a little flat here. Vanessa, you look like you're about to say something.
I manage the live feed over here off to the side of the stage, and somebody wanted to know if I buy your shirts.
Absolutely. Yes, folks, Vanessa is my shopper. She is my shopper. You know, when I got to do the Blue Country Heart record in the early 2000s, I was signed to Columbia. This is back in the day when record labels meant something. And when we got ready to do the photo shoot and stuff like that, they actually hired a shopper to go buy a bunch of stuff for me.
They did. They bought that beautiful brown leather jacket that's on the cover, I believe, and a bunch of just shirts and stuff like that. Yeah. And at the end of the session, they wanted to know, would I have everything cleaned and send it back? And you wrote to, I don't remember who it was. It could have been Dave Bett, and you said, "I'm keeping the jacket."
Exactly.
So this is for Anna Molino. Anna, that's another Robert Graham shirt.
Thank you, Vanessa. Quite well. I do like Tractor Supply shirts, too. That's another. Well, look down outside my window. Fog came up today. That gray outside is round my head. Looks like it's here to stay. Looks like it's here to stay. Well, look like it's here to stay. You know I love you. Want you more and more. I see you around most every day. I don't know where you are. I don't know who you are. Well, time goes on and I get older. What am I gonna do? Oh, but now my mirror face keeps getting colder. My eyes still look for you. My eyes still look for you now. My eyes still look for you. Sun came out this morning. Highway showed my way. Tracks in the sand led me into the sea. Wash my cares away. Wash my cares away. Wash my cares away. I want to touch you. My vacuum gives me pain. Your smile releases all my life like flowers under rain. Like flowers under rain. We start to live again. We start to live again. Thank you. Thank you very much. Cool. So, yeah. Okay. So I guess these folks out in San Francisco, they've got a bright idea for some fundraiser, and I guess Jack and I are going to be part of a bunch of San Franciscans, and in our case, ex-San Franciscans, doing San Francisco Bay Blues, which I'm going to do next. I learned this song from the author, Jesse Lone Cat Fuller. And for you folks that are really interested in roots music, Jesse Fuller was alive and well when I moved to San Francisco in 1962. And I actually had dinner with him and his wife and took a harmonica lesson from him. And my inability to play the harmonica is not Jesse's fault whatsoever. It just wasn't meant to be. But in any case, so he wrote the song San Francisco Bay Blues. Those of you that like going down the YouTube rabbit hole, you need to look up Jesse Fuller and his Fotdella. That's Fotdlla. It's like a one-man band thing where he had all the like the normal stuff like a kazoo and a hi-hat and this bass thing with a bunch of strings that he played with his foot. He called it his Fotdella because he played it with his foot, not Footdella, Fotdella, F-O-T. That his wife's name was Della. Anyway, you got to check it out. It's pretty cool. So. Got the blues from my baby down by San Francisco Bay. Ocean liner took her so far away. Didn't mean to make me feel bad. I said, best God I ever had. Said goodbye and made me cry. Well, I right down and down. Said I ain't got a nickel and ain't got a lousy dime. If I come back, think I'm gonna lose my mind. Will ever come back to stay? Well, brand new day, walking with baby by the San Francisco Bay. Well, sitting here on my back porch, wondering which way to go. Woman, I'm so crazy about don't want me more. Didn't catch myself a freight train long, cause I'm feeling blue. Right all the way to the end of the line, just thinking only you will mean nothing. Just about to go insane. Well, thought I heard my babe way call my name. Well, ever come back to stay? Brand new day with my baby by the San Francisco Bay. Well, sitting here on my back porch, wondering where to go. Woman, I'm so crazy about Lord, he don't want me no more. Got myself a freight train, feeling blue, right all the way to the end of the line. Just thinking only you will mean one other city. Just about to go insane. Well, thought I heard my babe way call my name. Well, ever come back to stay? Brand new day, walking with the baby by the San Francisco Bay. Lord, I ain't fooling with my baby by the San Francisco. Doodly wop bop, diddly boo beep bop bop. Hey, Nessa, where are you? Oh, there you are. Oh, my gosh. Well, let me turn, little dear. Hey, how'd you like the authentic doodly wee bop, doodly bob bop?
I laughed.
Of course you did. I'm going to talk like that all the time from now on.
Oh, good.
You know, Bob Dylan wrote that song Tangled Up in Blue. I'm going to write one called Tangled Up in Chords. So, we're going to do a Delmore Brothers song. Is this correct?
We are.
So we need to tell the folks a little bit about the Delmore Brothers. If the Delmore Brothers were active from like the 20s into the 50s, and the song that we're going to do, Blue Stay Away From Me, the verse, now listen to it. They do it like a rhythm and blues ballad. It's kind of cool because in the beginning, they just played Alton Raybon, the wacky lead player, played a four-string, a tenor guitar, and Raybon played the tenor guitar, and Alton just played guitar. Anyway, they should be in the Rock Roll Hall of Fame because a lot of their stuff is incredibly influential. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, great song, right?
It is a great song.
Hang on, stick with me, Ness. Stick with me here. Blues, stay away from me. Blues, why don't you let me be? Don't know why you keep on haunting me. Love was never meant for me. True love was never meant for me. Seems somehow we never can agree. Life is full of misery. Dreams are like a memory, bringing back your love that used to be. Tears, so many I can't see. Years don't mean a thing to me. Time goes by and still I can't be free. You're not expecting to get paid for this, are you? Just kidding.
When you covered that song, did you do it on?
It's a Blue Country Heart thing.
It's on Blue Country Heart.
Yeah.
So the roughs, I would get the roughs every now and then. It was a great session. I worked out all the vocal harmony parts in the car, listening to it, hoping someday that you would ask me to sing it with you. So.
And here is that day. Here is that day. Well, the only thing is, the recording on Blue Country Heart is very cool. We got a Grammy nomination for that one that year. But I toured, we toured behind the record for I think almost 2 years, and on that tour, I alternately had Sally Van Meter, great dobro player, but also Cindy Castle who played dobro and steel guitar, not pedal steel, steel guitar, and I have this Buddy Emmons 10-string lap steel that I bought somewhere. I can't play it, of course, but I own it. But anyway, to make a long story short. Cindy would take a great lap steel solo here, and at the end she'd grab the tone thing, and go wah 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 wah. Anyway, it probably sounded better when she did it. I got it all right. So All right, so we've dragged out another song. This is a Reverend Davis thing that I haven't done for quite a while, and it's on Land of Heroes, I believe.
Another great record
Land of Heroes.
that you recorded here, actually, didn't you?
No, Land of Heroes was recorded
I thought you
at
did
Fred
Land of Heroes.
Bogart's place.
But what did you do in the A-frame?
We did the Christmas album in the A-frame.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but since you mentioned that, it's kind of interesting. This guy who produced that record for me, he had Studio C at the old RCA building on 16th Avenue on Music Row in Nashville, which was the mirror studio that the Airplane recorded on at Sunset and Ivar. We started our first record. We started in Studio C, which was like Fred's. Then we moved to the big room. They had the same rooms there, just like they did in L.A. And when I did that in, I forget, like in '95 or something like that, Chet Atkins owned all those studios in the building, and I got a chance to meet him. He was a gracious gentleman. And of course, I wanted to talk guitars and stuff with him, but he only wanted to talk about Model A Fords.
Right.
Really. Called A Little More Faith in Jesus. All I wanted, well, all I want, just a little more faith in Jesus. All I want, well, all I want, just a little more faith in Jesus. Jesus coming, Lord, it won't be long, just a little more faith in Jesus. You gonna call me, Lord, I'll be gone, just a little more faith in Jesus. One day as I was walking along, just a little more faith in Jesus. Heard a little voice, Lord, I saw no one, just a little more faith in Jesus. What do you reckon that it said to me? Just a little more faith in Jesus. Sins are forgiven, Lord, the soul set free, just a little more faith in Jesus. All I want, well, all I want, just a little more faith in Jesus. All I want, well, all I want, just a little more faith in Jesus. Day as I went down to pray, just a little more faith in Jesus. Met old Satan down on my way, just a little more faith in Jesus. What do you reckon that he said to me? Just a little more faith in Jesus. That I'm too young to die and too old to pray, just a little more faith in Jesus. Fell on my knees and started to pray, just a little more faith in Jesus. Made Satan out of line long and stayed all day, just a little more faith in Jesus. All I want, well, all I want, just a little more faith in Jesus. You know all I want, well, all I want, just a little more faith in Jesus.
Thank you, Yorma.
Thank you, Vanessa. That was very nice. Thank you very much. Well, Myron, that's a tough act to follow, but I know you're up for it. So it's always a lot of fun for me to get together with Myron and play some tunes. And one of the interesting things for me as a musician, we all sort of like have our favorite, like, you know, our home groove places and stuff like that. And even though I listen to a lot of the music that drives Myron, and I have since I was a kid, it's not something I normally play. So it's both challenging and exciting to fit in with this fine young fella here.
It's sure a pleasure to get to join you here, Yorm. Very awesome.
Oh, hang on. This is a capo song too, right?
It is capo too.
Whew. Well, that would have been shitty, wouldn't it? Would have been like, yeah, that would have sucked. Okay.
Anywhere you want, just probably should capo. As long as you play in the B chord.
Which for me is an A chord.
There you go. Me too. You want to do this? I learned this song a long time ago, but then I did a class here at the Fur Peace Ranch with Mr. Peter Rowan. Saw how he played it, and it changed everything from then on. So, thanks, Peter.
Yeah, you know,
Bill
before we
Monroe.
kick it off, we need to talk about Peter a little bit too, because I'm sure some of the people out there listen to him. I mean, he's a really significant American artist, you know, and the various different stuff that he's done, from his solo work to playing with Bill Monroe. I mean, you got to check him out. And one of my personal Desert Island discs, Dust Bowl Children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great one. I like the first Whippoorwill too.
Yeah.
But Bill Monroe and Peter Rowan did this song. It's called "The Walls of Time." You want to do this?
Let's do it.
All right. The wind is blowing across the mountain, down on the valley way below. It sweeps the grave of my darling. When I die, that's where I want to go. Lord, send the angels for my darling and take her to that home on high. I'll wait my time out here on earth, love, and come to you when I die. I hear a voice out in the darkness. It moans and whispers through the pine. Well, I know it's my sweetheart calling. Well, I hear through the walls of time. Lord, send the angels for my darling and take her to that home on high. I'll wait my time out here on earth, love, and come to you when I die. Well, our names are carved up on the tombstones. Well, I promised you before you died that our love will bloom forever, darling. When we rest side by side, Lord, send the angels for my darling and take her to that home on high. Well, I'll wait my time out here on earth, love, and come to you when I die. Lord, send the angels for my darling and take her to their home on high.
Cool, man. Cool. Thanks, Myron.
Thanks, everybody.
You know, guys like me that, come from like suburban Maryland, back east and stuff like that love this kind of music. Always tried to learn how to sing like Myron, but he talks and sings like that naturally. It's almost not fair. He was born and raised to do that. Nope, got to be born. Well, goodness gracious. Yeah, thanks, Myron. That was awesome. What, Vanessa?
Want a question?
Sure.
Sorry, sitting down on the job here.
You're just getting so comfortable.
I know.
Now you're a big star. Now you're a big star.
Well, I won't be on camera again, but if anyone noticed, I was wearing my jammies, so I'm super comfortable over here. Felt like it's my living room. Okay, this one came from, I hope I pronounced the last name, Richard Massef. What was it like on Yorma and Jack's ears when they played The Late Show at the Academy of Music in New York City back in 1973 and 74? My ears are still ringing.
We're there for you, brother. That's all I can say. If you're deaf because of us, what can I tell? Well, no, actually, so in that era back then, people talk about the experience of hearing, bands like the Dead and Hot Tuna in the same family, not musically speaking, but for some of the sonic stuff. The PAs back then were evolving thanks to Owsley and his work and stuff like that. But with a lot of stuff, the way we wound up with all the mountains of equipment that we had were because the only thing that would be in the PA would be drums and vocals. And other than that, the actual sound coming from the stage and the band was part of the deal. And so Jack had, if I remember correctly in that era, I think he had four Mac 350s. And he was at the front end, he had two modded dual Showman heads modded for bass. And I forget how many cabinets, hard trucker cabinets he had, but he had a boatload of them. So he had a lot of horsepower. And I think depending on which year it was, I might have had 2 stacks of Oranges, 2 stacks of Marshalls, or 2 stacks of 100-watt high watts. Depends. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on. So, making your ears ring, here's the deal. The waveforms of the sound coming off the stage take 30 or 40 feet to build up, so it's actually not as loud on stage as it is in the audience. So,
However,
yes.
And I'm going to choose my words
Choose them
correctly.
carefully.
Both you and Mr. Cassidy have hearing enhancers.
Oh, there's no question about it, but yeah. And thanks for bringing that up, Vanessa. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing that with our friends out there. Oh, wait a minute. What did you say? Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, at my age, and when you get a little bit older, sweetie, you'll figure this out yourself. Yeah, of course there's hearing loss, but I've been very, very fortunate. My hearing loss is in the area, the vocal area where my wife and daughter talk. And so when I'm around the house, I do wear my hearing aids because then I can hear them more or less. That being said, one of the things that happen, and guys and gals, you have this to look forward to, that when you get older, even with hearing aids, you can hear all this stuff, but you lose clarity. And so one of the things that I really enjoy around the house today, even with my hearing aids in, they'll say something and I'll go, "You're not going to believe what I thought you just said."
Yeah, that happens a lot. But you also, your hearing enhancers, because they're not like old school hearing aids like the Belltone or whatever.
That's right.
That
The ones like my
generation.
mom had feeding back in her head all
Yes,
the time.
correct. Yours, as some of your fans may know, because they are of that age as well, everything is programmed by your cell
iPhone,
phone.
right.
Right, so your iPhone. So
I have Starkey Halos.
So when we're sometimes, okay, this is how Izzy and I perceive it. When we're talking and we think sometimes like you're looking at your cell phone and you're not paying attention to us, you're turning us down.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But anyhow, so my audiologist, though, in a moment of seriousness before we move on. So I'm very fortunate because I don't need them for music. And her thing is that as long as because I don't like the way music sounds through them. It just I don't like it, you know. But fortunately, I don't need them for music, and so I don't wear them. If I had to, I would, but I don't. Anyway, yeah. What did you say? Been so long since I belonged here, ever since I lost my way. That was when I still had something special left for me to say, well, unto you. Oh, just to see your smile, laugh and look at me. Well, when you held me tight in the morning, child, you know it's been so long since I felt at home in the mirror. Was a time I once came running down the street we used to live. That was when I still had something special left for me to give. Well, up to you, just to see your smile, laugh and look at me. Well, when you held me tight in the morning now, you know it's been so long since I felt at home in the mirror. Thank you. Well, the old clock on the wall says it's time to do some traveling with Mr. John Hurl. Hurl, how are you doing, bud?
Oh, you are doing good, doing
Well,
good.
Let me,
Happy to be here for quarantine number 10.
I'm happy to be
Boy,
anywhere.
it seems like only yesterday. we got started.
What have you been up to besides recording an album?
Well, that was the big thing this week, I got to say. And what a big and great thing it was. I'm trying to tune and talk at the same time. Yeah, last week when Yorma mentioned that Justin was in the house and we were going to be working on a record together. And boy, it happened so quickly. It was just a couple weeks ago that Yorma called me with this great idea. Of course, it just knocked me out. And then next thing you knew, Justin was on his way. And last week we were talking about the project. And now a week later, I could tell you it's done. It's recorded. And boy, it it was a lot of fun. And it sounded great to me. And
How many songs did you get?
14 songs in 2 days. On Sunday and Monday, we were working. And of course, everything does go easy with you because we just have a nice chemistry working together.
You know,
But
having a limited budget helps also.
yeah. Well, it's good that we came a day under, But we're back with people here at the ranch this week, which was really great. We had a luncheon on yesterday for you people out there in Radio Dreamland. And we had a luncheon here, and it's the first time we've actually brought people back into the ranch, which was so nice.
Yeah, it's been the first time in a while that I've seen people other than my colleagues, family, and friends.
You weren't getting tired of looking at me, were you? That's okay. Don't say
I don't have my
anything.
glasses on. I'm good.
I'll tell you, I know what it is.
I'm good.
But anyhow, we had a real nice group of people here, and of course, some of our favorite people all showed up, so it was so nice. And I got to ask Yorma to repeat this because it was something he said during the luncheon that was I thought beared repeating, but he was talking about the recording project and that we had cut 14 tracks in 2 days, and he said it isn't always the case. And take it from here, Yorma.
Yeah, well, so when the Airplane did Surrealistic Pillow, we did the entire album in less than 2 weeks. And back in those days, they didn't have, there was no noise reduction and stuff like that, so their overdubbing was extremely limited. You actually had to cut the parts and stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. But then, and this is a two-edged sword, then the record became a big success. Now, we were, just as a sidebar, we were at the same time the Doors' first album came out, and we were with the same agency, so we toured with the Doors a lot for the next 2 years. Both of our albums were at the top of the charts. This is an unknown concept for me today, but anyway, at the top of the charts for 2 years, which is relatively unheard of. Anyway, so the next time we went into the studio to do After Bathing at Baxter's, all of a sudden, because we had some clout, we had a virtually unlimited budget, and in the spirit of nature abhorring a vacuum, we took a lot of time. And I think I mentioned yesterday to you and our Panini dining brethren that the intro, the feedback intro to, I think it was the House of Punil Corners or one of Cantor's epic songs on that thing, took 6 months to get a take that Cantor enjoyed. And that's not to say that for 6 months all I did is stand in front of a stack of amplifiers and feedback, because we also recorded a boatload of songs. But what it is to say that at least every day that we were in there, and you think about it, this long after the fact, I mean, I was playing through Four Twins at the time. I had the reverb, overdriving the spring reverb tank and bumping into the amps and making them pop and make noise and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, how do you know when it's popped just right?
Just don't know till you do it.
So before we get to your song, do you remember Reality D Blip Crotch? Remember this?
I do not.
So the Airplane had a sort of a vanity, inspired by the Beatles' Apple company. The Airplane had a vanity label called Grunt, and our mascot was Jumpin' Jack Flesh. It was this extremely overweight sort of a cartoon character with a lot of tattoos. Anyway, Jumpin' Jack Flesh. Anyway, and various members of the band brought in bands to be signed, and we're gonna like get the interest. And Cantor discovered this band called One. I'm sure you can look this up. And the leader of Run was Reality Blipcrotch, and he'd actually changed his name. That was his name. And then he wanted for his, this is a true story, and for his record, for one of the beginnings, we had the feedback thing for 6 months. Well, he wanted to record a wave coming into the Ocean Beach in San Francisco, but it couldn't just be any wave. It had to be the wave. And so he spent a lot of time out there with a recording remote recording. Anyway, you get the picture.
Yeah. How did his solo career take off?
I don't think the record was actually ever released. Wonder where Reality is today.
I wonder where.
You know, reality is a fleeting moment, really. What do you think?
I think so.
What song is? But
Well,
speaking of real reality, what are we going to do?
This song we're going to do, Yorma, is one we recorded for the record, and I'd like to say that this is the record has 2 songs by our dear true brother Spencer Bowren, and
May he rest in peace.
So happy to have a couple of his songs on the record, and. You know, we were talking about it when we were recording. It's hard to believe next week it will be a year since he passed. And the time really fly. But we want to send this out to Marilyn and Spencer Bowren because we feel you all the time visiting with us, brother, and stick around. Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama too. Oh yes, I will keep on traveling, hoping I'll run into you. Last week I looked in Memphis and in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a-leaving for Atlanta just to see what I can see. Kansas City and Chicago, Amarillo and Syracuse. Oh yes, I will keep on traveling, hoping I'll run into you. From Cheyenne down to Denver, always looking for a clue. Tucson, Arizona, Omaha, and Waterloo. Kansas City and Chicago, Amarillo and Baton Rouge. Oh yes, I will keep on traveling, hoping I'll run into you. Oh yes, I will keep on traveling, hoping I run into you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Spencer would have enjoyed that.
Yes, he would.
I didn't play too many notes, you know.
Yeah, but you played all the right ones.
If there's any justice in this world, and there's a conversation for another time, but if there's any justice in this world, Spencer would be a household name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew, Ness and I knew Spencer for a really, really long, Spencer, Maryland, for a long, long time. When I first met him, I was out in Wyoming or somewhere out there in one of those states where there's not very many people. And
Fort Collins.
Fort Collins, Colorado, right. And they were traveling with their family, pulling an Airstream trailer behind like a 55 or 56 Chevy. I think it was a 55, I'm not sure.
I actually have no recollection of the family.
It was another time.
I remember meeting Spencer in the club, and that was the first time we met him.
Well, Marilyn was taking care of the kids. She wouldn't have been in the club. Anyhow.
Like I said.
But anyhow, he was
I have
such,
no
such a talented guy and such a really, really great guitar player. But in his music, when he played, he was always like every note was like platinum, was like gold. You know?
It really was.
Yeah.
It was. Yep. Yeah, I'm
Anyhow.
really glad we had a couple of his songs.
And he
on the record.
sang like an angel.
Yeah, he had it all going on. He was a great guy.
He had it all going
He
on.
did.
Yep.
That's the truth.
We miss you, buddy.
So I didn't want to pull you back from that great story about the recording studio. You guys went off, but it was a great story. You started to talk about the panini lunches. So
Panini.
yes, so you actually came. If things keep going the way they're going, I mean, we're going to do these panini lunches until we open back up, which at this point is going to be in mid-August, right, John?
Yep.
So we'll do these lunches 2 or 3 days a week. They'll be posted on our Fur Peace Ranch Facebook page.
Yep.
They're reservation only. We limit the people to, well, we did 20. We think we might be able to do 25, but
Or maybe even 30.
maybe, weather pending, because this is an outside venue. You're
Sure,
not
yeah.
coming into any of our buildings. You order your food choice, which is panini. It's the Panini Concert Series, or the Panini Lunch Series. So that's the name of these concert series. So we've already done one. So I'm throwing it out there, and I threw it out on the Hot Tuna fan page. We can take a reservation for 20 Hot Tuna or Yorma fans. And
Road
just
trip.
Road trip.
Road trip.
And just
trip.
reserve the day for you. So, it's an 11 to 2 day. Come in the night before. We got a lot of wonderful hotels in Athens, and you can hang for an hour before you eat. You can hang for an hour after the music is over. I mean, what else you got to do?
Sounds like a
Tell a
great
bunch of
afternoon to
stupid
me.
jokes.
Now, just in case there might be someone other than just me that
Yes.
doesn't do social media and Facebook, can I tell them next week we're going to do it? June 11, 12, 13?
We have 10, 11, 12.
10, 11, 12.
There's still space left in all days. Honestly, I have probably 4 or 5 reservation spaces left for Friday, but the Wednesday and Thursday, which is probably better suited, I guess, for locals, unless you're working from home, and we'll let you use the Wi-Fi if you've got an important Zoom meeting.
Yeah, free Wi-Fi. Yikes.
Well, thank you, Vanessa.
Well, moving right along, John.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
this next song is a great song, and we hope you'll be singing at home on the chorus with
We do
us.
hope.
But it has some interesting history, so I thought I would ask you a couple questions.
Let's
Yorma.
do it, John.
So
Let's
anyhow,
do it.
this is the song called "Get Together" by Chester Powers,
AKA.
Dino Valenti. And Dino Valenti was the singer in Quicksilver, Messenger Service, and
Not the original
not the
singer,
original, but he came out on the second
yeah.
record or something, yeah. And Dino had this is a great, great song, and I noticed some people call it "Let's Get Together," and then it's "Get Together," but he had written it in 1963, and I had remembered reading in an interview with him that he had been busted for pot. They used to do that back then, and he got busted for pot, and
In,
he
in an
ended
era
up-
when that was a real bust.
yeah,
It wasn't like getting
yeah.
a ticket for lighting up on the sidewalk
Yeah.
today. I mean, you could do prison time for that.
But anyhow, he ended up selling the rights to the song, which everybody knows became such a gigantic anthem and a just big song. But he sold the rights of it for really enough, thousands at the time, a few thousand, but enough that he could afford a good lawyer to get him out of trouble. And his comment was that he felt he could always write another great song, but he wasn't going to spend any time in jail. And so.
Well, there's some parallel history about that too, because do you remember who he sold the song to?
I do not, but I bet you do.
Well, I do actually. He sold the song to this guy Frank Werber. Frank Werber was born in Germany, and his parents went to Luxembourg to flee the Nazis in World War II, and then they were in prison for a while, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, so when he came to the United States, he got into the entertainment business in San Francisco. And he had some clubs and stuff like that. And he stumbled on the guys who became the Kingston Trio. He was the Kingston Trio's manager. And in fact, they recorded that song when he got the rights to it and had a huge hit with it. And so he was like a local San Francisco character. But there's also other things too. Now, Vanessa's cautioned me not to go into too much detail about this, but those of us of my age group will remember there was a bar in Sausalito. Sausalito is a sort of I guess they don't use the term yuppie anymore, but back in those days it was like a yuppie bar, and so a yuppie area, and it was right on the water, and they had this place called the Trident. And the Trident this was not a dive bar. This was a very upscale bar, and all I can quote is that line from that the Johnny and Shuggy Otis snatching the poontangs. We done some shit that made the whole world wonder. That's all I can say, you know. In any
Maybe
case,
that
yeah.
better be all you say.
Yeah, that's all I'm allowed to say about that. But yeah, the Trident, good times.
Now, Yorm, I got a question for
Yes.
you. So anyhow, this get-together, it was a hit for the Youngbloods and Jesse Colin Young and the Youngbloods in
Right.
1967. However, on August 15th of 1966, your group recorded that song
Yes, we did.
before them.
Yes,
and
we
I just
did.
wondered if you could shed any light on how that got to be one of the songs you decided to cover.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's just one of those great songs, and just briefly, if you think about Dino or Chester, when he was like, I think he's like 3 or 4 years older than me. He's passed away since, but when he got out of the service, he got into the music scene in the East Coast, and it started out. Some of his contemporaries were Fred Neil and Karen Dalton. And Karen Dalton, the greatest singer nobody's ever heard of, you got to check her out sometime. It's an interesting story. In any case, so and all these great singers and stuff like that and writers. I do remember when I was in New York in the summer of 1960. Dina was featured at the Cafe Wah. The Cafe Wah. Wow. Now this was back in an era, 1960. Wow. That's when when people didn't clap, they went, yeah, man, that's what's going on. Yeah.
I like
In any case, and there was whenever he'd be playing, there'd be a big sign, a banner on the front of the Cafe Wah that simply said "Dino is," because in those days you didn't have to be anything, just the fact that you were the beingness as opposed to nothingness, ontologically speaking. Anyway,
cool.
Being a nothingness.
Kind of like a Yorma is.
Boy, that gave me a headache. Anyway, the real answer to your question is it's just a great song. A lot of people have done it. It's a fabulous song. And I think that David Freiberg, who was one of the singers in Quicksilver, I think that he might have brought that to Cantor because they were buddies. They lived in Venice with Crosby before all this stuff happened.
Cool.
Yeah, man. So
Well, I want to say before I play this that I know one of our dear friends, Munch, is listening to the show up in Cleveland.
Yo, buddy.
Him and his lovely wife, Donna. He told me this has become their Saturday night date night.
We're there for you.
All 10 concerts. But years ago when I used to play this song, and the line in it says, "Smile on your brother." And Munch, being that kind of guy, said, "Hurl, you got to remember to smile on the sisters, too. Just don't say smile on your brother. You should say smile on each other." And I said, I like that, Munch. And ever since then, I've sang it with that line. So thank you, Munch, for that line. I still use it.
they're bridging the gender gap always. That's well done, John.
Love is but a song you sing, fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on each other, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some will come and some will go, we shall surely pass. When the one who left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunlight fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on each other, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hands. Just one key unlocks them both, it's there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on each other, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on each other, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Right now, right now, right now. Hey, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Yorma.
Thanks, John.
It's nice.
Do you see that last G chord?
I love that chord.
Hey, thanks so much, John. Awesome as always. Yeah, man. Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious. Wow. Yeah, that's a tough song to follow. But,
Hey, Yorma,
hey, Ness.
can I ask you
Yes.
what that second guitar, the littler guitar, the
Oh, yeah.
12-string, what, it looks like an electric mandolin, but I know it's not.
No, it's not. So I'm not going to actually play this thing, but I'm going to pick it up for a minute. It's at some point before this is all over. The dobro, it, and probably one of my auto harps. So in Woodstock, New York, lives a really nice guy and very fine instrument builder, Joey Valetti. And this is one of his things. The first one I saw, he called it a Griffin, but when they went into public, I think they call it an Avanti now. It's like an octave guitar. So it's not really a 12 string because they're paired strings, they're not octaves. And this is, the E-shaped chord is a C chord. So I've owned this for a number of years. I really like it. And one of these days I'm going to figure out what to do with it. Is that good enough, Tess? Awesome.
What's with the mini pearl tag hanging off the bottom?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. It's a product endorsement for Diodario string.
Okay. Okay.
You know, guys like us in the music business, we exist for getting free stuff. That's the deal. And I've been a Martin string endorser for a number. There are a lot of great strings out there, but I've been using Martin strings because I'm a Martin string endorser, and they give me great strings. But my blurb for them is, I like these strings so much if I had to pay for them, I'd use them.
I know they're listening. I think that they should actually do that as their next ad campaign.
I hope so, because it's really true. We could talk about molecular bonds.
Did you hear that, Chris?
Molecular bonds and non-coated strings. Well, Nessa,
Yes, dear.
we might be sort of pulling into the end of this evening here.
I think there's 2 more on tap, no?
Oh, definitely 2 more, absolutely.
Okay, good.
I mean, for me, that's coming into a landing. I mean, I got to plan ahead, you know.
You know, I know we, in the earlier quarantine shows, we were pushing your book, and we still push your book.
It's still got a happy ending.
It still has a happy ending. The paperback came out recently, but we also dropped the price on the hardcover. But a lot of what you wrote about really is like you just sitting here talking with John, or having memories come up because of the questions that your fans are answering. But I have this great idea to just do one of these quarantine concerts as a
Blab Fest?
blab fest, and just having. So John interviewed you, and didn't you do an interview with Dan Hicks and your mom? I mean, we actually had a couch up there, and you did something.
Dan
with-
is sort of sparse of verbiage, wasn't he? May rest
Yeah.
in peace.
Yeah, we even did like a mock talk show at one point, and we had we have like a pretend Jack Hanna come out with a bird on his shoulder. That's when Brett worked for us. That was pretty funny. Yeah, and
Nothing's
but-
too corny for us to do.
no, it was great. But I think that's actually pretty cool because you've done some book readings and maybe played a little bit, but with the right interviewer. Would you be interested in just sitting here? It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you wouldn't play, but we may bring up some of the stories, because there is a book too.
Yeah.
There's more stories. There's a lot that you didn't share, and you actually have shared a lot. One of the things that I love about your book is that you tell your story, and you don't tell other people's
I don't.
stories, and you were given offers several times to dish the dirt, and you
Yeah,
didn't.
to rat out people more famous than me. Yeah,
That's
I'm
right,
not into
and
that.
you didn't, and
I
you
did not.
wouldn't. But there is more to your story. Your book is fantastic.
Well, thanks.
But I do think if the fans would go for it, and they can always let me know via
That'd be fun.
the feed, is for you to just, I mean, because you just go off.
It's the way I am.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah, that was definitely in the card. So I'm going to do, I'm going to do a song I did for the first time in the Panini Luncheon concert yesterday in a long time, and it's a version of a song called "Follow the Drinking Gourd." And so when I first worked out a version of this, I used to do the lyrics. It's a great song. It's about the Underground Railroad, and I need to bring the lyrics back. I didn't have time to do it for this weekend, but I'm going to do it. But it sort of devolved or evolved, depending on how you want to look at it, into an instrumental. And so in 1964, there were two Monterey folk festivals, like 64 and 65, or 63, 64, I forget. But in any case, I went down to Monterey because Garcia was doing had a solo act on one of the stages there. And the Monterey thing, it's the same place they did the Monterey Pop Festival, the Monterey Jazz Festival. So there's a lot of cachet to this place. In any case, so they had an open mic. Oh, Joan Baez was the big act the year that I went. In any case, they had an open mic, and I got to play my version of "Follow the Drinking Gourd," and I got a big round of applause. Blah blah blah. It was a big deal to me back then. In any case, because Monterey was Monterey. In any case. Thank you very much.
Very nice, Yorma.
Thank you.
So, a couple things before you
Yes.
wrap up. I got a note on the live feed that someone wanted to know if I was going to extend the specials tonight because the site is bogging down.
Yeah, right.
Let me just say that the same thing. It's really frustrating, and I'm really sorry, but I get calls every time hot tuna shows go on sale at the Beacon or whatever show they're playing because the Ticketmaster site is stalled out because there's 2,000 people trying to get the best 40 seats down on the floor. So it just, that bogged down behavior of the site, again, I apologize, is because everybody's on it trying to get the special. I'm going to extend that special through tomorrow. So please don't worry. Take a break. Let the,
Let the site breathe.
let the site breathe a little bit. I'll extend this until, the end of the day tomorrow. Sound good?
Do you hear rain?
No, that's our filtered bottle filler in the back of the room, Yorma.
It's still water, right?
No, yes, it is. Nobody
Okay.
else can hear it. It's our social distancing
Got it.
water cooler in the back.
Got it.
But I want to again say thank you to everyone for watching, for your continued support, for your donations for the crew. They thank you. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel that you're watching. We have a lot of special projects that we want to do, and for some of them we need 30,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
We're over halfway there. So thank you for that. But please subscribe, and if you
It costs nothing.
and you get alerts every time we do something. So what we've been doing regarding these shows is we'll put the artwork up for the show, and the link will come at the end of the week. So don't panic if you don't see a link. If for some reason you just can't find a link, really, it's on either the Hot Tuna Facebook page, the Fur Piece Ranch, or my Facebook page. It's on Yorma's Twitter site. But you can always go to YouTube, do a search for Fur Piece TV, and the link will be up. So as far as I know, unless something changes, we'll meet here again next Saturday if
That's the plan.
everybody wants to do it. Okay. Myron, Izzy, Andy, John, Yorma, thank you. We worked hard this week. You worked hard this week. But thank you for taking my motorcycle out for a ride because it needs to be ridden, and
Now, guys,
I haven't had a chance.
so it's a beautiful day today. We have a bunch of stuff, so I couldn't take off for Seneca Lake or something like that. So I figured, well, how many guys can borrow a really hot Sportster bike from their wives and take it for a ride, go down the river, ride around the river? It was awesome. It's a slick little ride, and that's what it really is. And as we say in the motor world, it shits and gets.
I know it does. I always feel bad when I say I don't have time to ride because we have a lot of friends that ride. Two of our friends, Ben Hochberg and Sheila Hochberg, you guys ride all the time. I'm always afraid to say I'm not riding, but there's so much going on in our world right now. My mom is in a nursing home, and so that between
Yeah.
what I do here and what I have to do there,
Right.
I really have very little time. But I will reveal that I am a fair weather rider, and today was too hot.
Oh, come on.
That engine heat
It does
is
radiate a lot of
just
heat.
too much for me, and I'm
Well, I remember back in the day, one of my friends who was a tuner for flat track racing used to go, Yorma, the hotter it gets, the better it runs, like a Corvette.
Well, that's true. It actually does, and I can feel that when I'm on it, but I'm dying there. And
It was warm, I admit
with
it.
the full face helmet and everything, and I am protected. I don't drive or ride with T-shirts. I have all the accoutrements because I have been.
You're not a squid.
I've been in motorcycle wrecks, so I protect myself. But I also don't like it when it's too cold. So the temperature's got to be just right.
I get it. So thanks for sharing that, Vanessa. We appreciate it, and thanks for letting me take your 48 for a ride. So yeah, so I was gonna do I Know You Rider, but it occurred to me when I was doing Follow the Drinking Gourd. There's a couple of chord shifts in there that are very similar. So I think what I'm gonna do is tick tock, tick tock. Well, I met a gal in a cabaret, pretty popular, going my way, mad to know what it's all about now. Bring me home, just throw me out, broke my nose, split my head, don't let me catch you here again. Whip through the kitchen, baby, out to the door, hit me with a chair. Head got sore, well, never happened no more, happen no more. Well, I live in Chicago, winter and fall, caused me to wear my overalls. And I got broke, Lord, it was my fault. Said used to eating pork chops and leaving the salt. Met a gal, a big mean coat, fancy car, a 40-foot boat. She pulled a gun and she took my dough. Didn't get mad, didn't get sore. Well, never happened no more. I said never happened no more. Well, I met a gal in a cabaret, pretty popular, going my way, mad to know what it's all about now. Bring me home, just throw me out, broke my nose, split my head, don't let me catch you here again. Through the kitchen, out through the door, hit me with it, till my head got sore. Well, never happened no more, happened no more. Well, never happened no more. I said, it never happened no more. Thanks a lot, folks. See you next week, I'll betcha.
Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and thanks for your support, really. Stay safe.
Indeed.
Wear your masks even if you don't want to. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.